Daniela here. Um, Today is VEDA day 11. I didn't really do a whole lot today, so I'm just here to make a video. I woke up a little early, around 7:30, but I just kind of hung out in bed. But I decided I wanted to go running because I didn't run yesterday, but I'm on spring break, so it's easier for me to go running in the morning. I had intended to run 3 miles because now I can actually run that distance. And I did pretty well, but as I finished my second mile, it wasn't super hot. It was about 68 degrees, but I guess just from running, I felt a little warm and was getting a little tired, so I ended up stopping at 2.5 miles, but it still felt pretty good. And one thing I like about running is even when it's challenging, if I'm able to keep pushing myself, it feels like I'm accomplishing something, that I'm able to keep going even though it's not always easy. And if I do get to a point where maybe I plan to run a certain distance, but I find it's not really going to work out this time, I can stop and not feel bad, or I can walk and keep going, and it's cool. So I finished my run, came back, showered, did some laundry, which I always feel accomplished when I do adult things like laundry. And then I graded some of my tests from first period. I actually got about halfway through them, because grading the test can be a pain in the butt because there's all these pages and you got to get through all the little sections. Plus, I've got like a writing part to it. So I took a break, and at one point I just didn't want to grade that anymore, but I finally got around later and I finished the test for one class, but I still have some other things to grade, and kind of gets me a little stressed out having to catch up on grades, but it'll be okay. Then later in the evening, I actually had dinner plans with a friend of mine. And actually before that, while I was just kind of hanging out, I read a little bit more of Carrie, which I checked out and started reading it yesterday. I'm about halfway through, and I'm enjoying it. I like how Stephen King writes. I've read 2 other things that he's written. His nonfiction book on writing, which is about writing, and that was the first thing I read that he's written. And then the other was The Dead Zone, which is nonfiction, and I really enjoyed that book too. So, after reading a little bit, I decided I should get ready to go to dinner because the place is about 20 minutes from where I live. So I left my apartment. My roommate was coming back in, and she said something like, "Oh, I hope you're not parked right on that side." And I thought, oh crap. So I walked out, and there was this big old moving truck in front of my building, blocking one section of parking spots, and there were only 3 cars over there. Mine just happened to be one of those cars. So I let them know I was going to dinner and asked if they could move the truck. And they said, in about 5 minutes. So I just hung out in my car and read a couple more paragraphs of Carrie, so that worked out. And they moved the truck, and I got ready to go. And I got to the end of the road that my neighborhood is off of, to turn right to head to the highway. And traffic was kind of backed up, and my thought was, it's rush hour, it's about 6 o'clock. So I was able to turn right. Some cars left a gap, and I head towards the left turn lane, and I see a police car up ahead, so could not have gotten into that left turn lane. So I just made a U-turn. So I couldn't see if there was an accident, but hopefully if there was, everyone was okay. It was gone by the time I came home. So I got to the restaurant in a different way, and dinner was good. Nice to see my friend. But she told me that while she was waiting for me, I guess she left the lights on and her battery died. The battery was actually a few years old. It didn't just die because she had the lights on. So she called AAA, and then after dinner, AAA came and she got a new battery, and all that was cool. But it's just a little funny because on Sunday, my boyfriend's battery also died when he came to hang out with me, so oops. Yeah, so dinner was good. My friend got a new battery. Then I headed home. And then the last kind of weird thing, on the way home, about 5 or 10 minutes from my house, I was just getting, the road I was on was just like turning back into the highway, and this car in front of me kind of was already going a little bit slow, and then they slowed down, and I don't know if I saw this bird fly out of the sky, but I saw the car drive over this bird, and I thought, oh my gosh, like that's really sad. And it was a big bird. I thought maybe it was a hawk or something. And so I slowed down just because I didn't want to just drive over this big thing in my car. I thought it was dead. So I slowed down, no one was behind me, and then it moved, and it stood up, and it kind of looked over at me, and it was this big gray owl, and I definitely didn't want to drive over it then, so I honked my horn, and it flew off. And this other bird actually had flown down. I think it was a buzzard or a hawk, when the owl was sitting in the road, and they both flew off. So that was strange. I hope that, I can only imagine that the owl would be injured after a car driving over it, but then it was able to fly off, so I couldn't find the phone number for any wildlife rehabilitation people in the area. So hopefully the owl's okay. I know things happen in nature where animals get injured and they do whatever, but okay, this video is 5.5 minutes long. Oops. That's the second take of this that I'm trying to do to make it shorter, but whatever. I'll just end this here and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.